What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 91, and we start today's episode off here with a game against Monaco in the Champions League group opener. Now, of course, last season we won the Champions League in our first ever Champions League season with Watford. That was on our way to winning the treble as well, I should say on our way. It completed the treble as the final game of the season for Watford. But coming into our Champions League group for this season, you heard me discuss it in the last episode. We've been drawn against Monaco, Celtic, and Sevilla, and no disrespect to any of those three sides, but I do believe we should be able to get through our group pretty comfortably and get ourselves into knockout stages as soon as possible. Last season our group was Real Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, and of course Basel as well. I thought it would be quite tough, but we ended up topping the group with a game to spare, if I do believe, or at least qualifying with at least a game to spare. So coming to this group, it should theoretically be even simpler for us. But taking on Monaco for the first game of the episode here, as you can see, the first chance fell to us, but Ryan Tyler's shot went over the bar and behind for a goal kick. Bayern had to make a good save here in the 37th minute to keep it at 0-0, but as things stood in this game, it was goalless, but I still felt we were playing better in the first half. But in the second half here, I forgot to show stats half time, sorry about that, but in the second half, we tried to get ourselves in front just 8 minutes after the restart. Dominic Iorfa powers down the right-hand side here, drills it across to the centre, the goalkeeper spills it, and then somehow Lukaku fails to put the ball into the back of the net, and the goalkeeper makes the save. So the goal was gaping there, and I put it straight at the goalkeeper's face, really. And it was a great save regardless because of the shot power, but either way, really poor finish from me, and it was still 0-0. But Butler made an incredible double save here just past the 80th minute mark. I completely threw this one away, but thankfully Butland bailed me out there with a couple of big saves, and it was still 0-0. But from the corner, Monaco Howe, we eventually cleared it away, as Bertrand Traore gets on the ball here down the left-hand side. He takes around two Monaco players here, uses his pace, uses his skill, uses his agility, uses close ball control, and also uses persistence as well, because after losing the ball momentarily, he wins it back, and Bertrand Traore, who came off the bench at half-time, finesses the ball into the corner and makes it Watford 1, Monaco 0. So, I was saying that this group would be quite easy for us with no disrespect to those three teams, but, this was not really an easy game at all. I felt we had been playing better, but I just wasn't doing enough in front of goal, and when I did get in front of goal, my finishing was poor. But Bertrand Traore came off the bench half-time, gets us the winner there. It was a really nice solo goal despite losing the ball momentarily after picking the ball up in his own half. But he does finesse the ball into the corner though, does make it Watford 1, Monaco 0, and does ensure that my blushes are spared, and we do win the group opener. So we beat Monaco here at Vicarage Road, and that was a big win for us as well, because had we not won the game, I would have been sitting there thinking maybe this is all about overconfidence in this group. He's talking about how this season we're going to top the group with ease and how it's going to be an easy one for us compared to last season where I said it was going to be a tough group, and we did top the group. So it's crazy how those things sort of play out. You think it's going to be one thing, it turns out to be the other. So it was a tough game because we did play better, but I just didn't keep my composure in front of goal. The most important thing, though, was we got the 3 points, and Bertrand Traore did deliver them with 5 minutes to go. So we take on Leicester here for the second game of today's episode here. So the informed Leicester in real life, who are going to be top of the table at Christmas this season. Unbelievable stuff. Leicester in the game as well. Not off to a bad start either, but Jamie Vardy for this game was left out of the squad completely. I checked after the game, and he's not suspended, and he's not injured, so why the Tinkerman decided to leave the star striker out of the team, I'm not entirely sure, but he did. And we did have the ball in the back of the net 27 minutes into this game as well for our first Premier League game of today's episode. Neymar got the goal, his third of the season, but sadly for us, his celebration was short-lived because the linesman had his flag up, and as you can see, it was the correct decision. But Balotelli's finesse shot was well saved by Alisson. We pushed it out towards the Brazilian Neymar, but sadly, despite putting it past a fellow Brazilian there, it was indeed ruled out for offside, and correctly so. So still 0-0 in this game, and from now we got the ball back here as Carvalho plays it through towards Conor Plianka. The Ukrainian goes for goal from range, puts the shot just over the bar and behind for a goal kick. So it was goalless going into the break here, and I thought we were playing a little bit better in the first half, but just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Just like in the Sevilla game, really, we had chances, but the finishing touch was not really the most, the most accurate, really. We'd have a couple of shots on target, we just couldn't find the back of the net other than that disallowed goal. In the second half, Loftus-Cheek was denied by Alisson there from range, a good save there, and it was still 0-0. And in the 59th minute, another great chance here as Klein goes forward, goes for goal to right back, not sure what he was doing in the area, but he does hit the bar, and eventually Leicester get the ball away, and it was how the game would finish as well. Final score, Watford 0, Leicester 0, and the one thing I could take from that game was that Leicester City need Jamie Vardy, because they just didn't attack in that game at all. And it was almost like Ranieri came into the game thinking, I know Vardy is insanely in form right now in real life, insane form in real life right now. I'll start Mahrez, but Vardy, no, we'll leave him out of the squad completely. We'll just play for the clean sheet and play for the 0-0 draw, because that's exactly what they did. They barely ever attacked in that game, and it did finish as a goalless draw. So pretty frustrated about that one, to be honest, because we should have won it. It was like a training exercise at certain points, Leicester trying to keep hold of the ball, us trying to win it back, sort of piggy in the middle style, really, the way they were playing some triangle passes in the game. But either way, it did finish as a 0-0 draw, and sadly for us, we do have back-to-back draws with Watford in the Premier League. But coming to this game, the third of 4 in today's episode, we take on Cambridge in the League Cup. Now, of course, last season the League Cup was one of the only trophies we didn't win. We were knocked out by Fleetwood Town, a lower league side, where if you remember, we were 2 goals up in that game, and we threw it away and lost the game 3-2 after they scored a stoppage time winner. So coming to this game against Cambridge here, I rested the entire team as per usual for the Capital One Cup. It's always a competition where I treat it as a backup competition, really. Sort of like a 4th objective for the season, and a competition where I'll just play the kids. But either way, I wanted to make sure we wouldn't lose once again against the lower league side. And as you can see, 39 minutes in, we were 2 goals up. First Dominic O'Ortha, now Sam Williams, the regen of Frank Lampard, finishing this chance to get his first goal for the club after being played through by Lewis Cook. And it was 2-0 to Watford. And on the stroke of half time here, it could have been 3-0 as well. Cook finds Watson, Gerrard's regen, into Traore, into Damari Gray, who goes for goal. It's a great save by the goalkeeper Besant, though, and turn behind for a corner. From that corner, it was headed away for another corner. Redmond crosses it in for a second time, and Bertrand Traore heads it in and makes it Cambridge 0, Watford 3. So we're not going to make any mistakes like last season, where we were 2 goals up against Fleetwood and lost the game 3-2. We were 3 goals up going into the break here, playing very, very well, and there was surely going to be no comeback for the lower league side. So Cambridge United 0, Watford 3 going into the break. And in the second half here, 11 minutes 48, Cambridge had a rare chance to get themselves back in the game and grab a consolation goal if nothing else, but Jeremy Jakovic making his first start in a Watford shirt on the back of that incredible World Cup for Canada. I mean, if you watch those Canadian episodes, you know that guy was the star of the Canada team, man. I could not leave him out of the squad for too long. I had to give him a game at some point. I saw this as the perfect opportunity to give him a game, and he did make a great save there to ensure he would keep a clean sheet on his Watford debut. So final score, Cambridge 0, Watford 3. No mistakes like last season, no silly errors. We're going through to the next round of the Capital One Cup, and we haven't won it since the first season, where that was our first ever trophy for Watford, if you don't count the pre-season tournament. So maybe just maybe, we will get that back in our locker once again and put it in our trophy cabinet for our 4th season. But so we take on Bournemouth for the 4th and final game of today's episode here, travelling to Eddie Howe's Vitality Stadium to take on Bournemouth, the Cherries. First chance would fall to Bournemouth here, back in the Premier League after their absence from the league for the past 2 seasons. They had the first chance of the game as well, as this strike by the number 34 goes wide at the post and behind for a goal kick. And another great chance here in the 35th minute as he's on the ball once again. He picks out Max Gradel here in the number 10, plays it inside towards Harry Arter, and what a finish this is by the Bournemouth skipper on the day. A fantastic strike by the number 8 into the back of the net, and Harry Arter makes it Bournemouth 1, Watford 0. So a great through ball by Max Gradel, and our last 2 league games, that draw against Leicester, that goalless draw at home, that draw against Liverpool away from home, 1-1 at Anfield. This may be the 3rd game in a row in the league where we failed to get the win, and it could be potentially our first defeat of the season. Gradel plays it through towards Harry Arter. It's a great finish there, and Bournemouth do take a deserved lead in this game, as they were playing quite well in the first half with Arter's first goal of the season. So Bournemouth 1, Watford 0. On the stroke of half time, we could have equalised here, but Mario Balotelli was denied by a great save by the goalkeeper Karius as he turns it behind for a corner and keeps his home side in front. So at half time, Bournemouth were leading the game by 1-0, and in the second half, I wasn't really doing much to suggest that we would be getting ourselves back on level terms and avoiding defeat for the first time this season. But in the 66th minute here, we go on a break, and as Conor Plianka receives the ball down the right hand side from Mario Balotelli here, he returns the favour and gives it back to his teammate, and Balotelli rifles the ball in and does make it Bournemouth 1, Watford 1, as we equalise just 22.5 minutes to go here at the Vitality Stadium. So Bournemouth back on level terms, pegged back here as it's 1-1, and Mario Balotelli hasn't had the best starts of the season. Last season he started off so well, hasn't really looked too good this season. His first goal coming against Liverpool, his former club, a deflected header, but this was a really, really big finish here. We weren't looking too good in front of goal. We weren't doing too much in the second half. We need to get back on level terms as soon as possible, and Mario Balotelli does equalise and make it Bournemouth 1 and Watford 1. And from that we grew confidence, and as Riedewald gets the ball here down the right hand side to Neymar, he scoop turns around Tyrone Mings. We try and hit Bournemouth on the break once again here as Lukaku finds Balotelli, the goal scorer. He then turns provider for Marco Ryan Talla, picks out his Italian colleague, and Ryan Ryan Talla makes it Bournemouth 1, Watford 2 with just over 17 minutes to go. So it's the Italian job. First Mario Balotelli, now Marco Ryan Talla. Balotelli with a goal and an assist, and a great finish by Marco for his first goal this season. So his last goal was in a Champions League final against Barcelona. This one is going to be the goal that will win us the game against Bournemouth here, as he does make it Bournemouth 1, Watford 2. And from that, Bournemouth were completely depleted. They've played so well in this game, they really had. But after that goal, I sensed as though it was going to be our 3 points to claim and hold on to, and we would as well. And in stoppage time, the misery would be compiled for Bournemouth. They weren't playing too badly, and this was quite harsh on them. Bailey Cargill, the number 38, gets a straight red card for a last-ditch challenge on Balotelli, which I actually thought was a really good challenge. He does, I will say in fairness, he does actually sort of headbutt Balotelli in the back of the leg to take him out before the ball, so maybe you could say that is a straight red card, as he was the last man. He did win all the ball though, and it was accidental, so I guess, what you got to look at it there is that some referees would say, well, even if it was unintentional, he did headbutt him before he won the ball, so that's why it's a free kick. And of course, if it's a free kick, it has to be a red card. But he won all the ball, and it wasn't intentional, so I'm not entirely sure. But still, it wasn't going to matter anyway. We did win the game by 2-1. We complete the comeback, and we do return to winning ways in the Barclays Premier League. But that does end the episode though, guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed today's episode of Career Mode, then please leave likes. That is much appreciated. Of course, it really does help my channel out. And I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.